Practically everybody knows about the saguaro cactus of Arizona. It is probably the most recognized symbol of the American Southwest. Like many other people, as a youth, I viewed the saguaro as the most representative and largest of the desert cactus. In reality, there is a columnar branching cactus from the Southwest that is larger and more extensive in range than the saguaro. This cactus is the largest cactus in the world. This cactus is the Cardone Cactus of northwestern Mexico, also known of as the sahueso. It is a close relative of the saguaro, but it is more frost sensitive, and for that reason it grows natively to the south of Arizona, and it mostly grows close to the ocean's moderating temperature influences. The purpose of this video is to contrast the Cardone and the saguaro and the other branching columnar cactus so that you will be able to tell the difference between these cactus. The Sonoran Desert is the only North American desert that is characterized by large branching columnar cactus. In South America, there are deserts that have large columnar cactus too. One of these cactus is the Cardone Grande. None of the South American cactus, however, compare in height and mass with the Sonoran Cardone Cactus of North America. Perhaps the best known and most common of the Sonoran Desert columnar cactus are the organ pipe, the Sunita, the HO, the saguaro, and the Cardone. The organ pipe, also known of as the pitaya in Mexico, grows from southwestern Arizona to the tip of the Tropic of Cancer in Baja California. Its flowers open at night and close the next morning. For this reason, the flowers are primarily pollinated at night by the nectar-feeding bats, like this long-tongued bat, whose long nose and long tongue are designed to pollinate columnar cactus flowers. Once pollinated, the organ pipe produces a delicious fruit that is still sold in the markets of Guaymas, Sonora today. The Sunita has a much smaller range in southwestern Arizona. It is confined to the lowest, warmest, and driest deserts in the United States. It too has a range that extends through Sonora and Baja California. Its flower is relatively small and pink. It has a small, round, edible red fruit that is good tasting and nearly spineless, and it often grows close enough to the ground to be picked by hand. The Sunita or senna is best known for its masses of spines that cover the branch tips to protect the new growth from the sun. These beard-like spines are the reason many call this the old man cactus. The HO cactus is a very large branching columnar cactus that is confined to the most southern reaches of the Sonoran Desert, perhaps because of its sensitivity to cold temperatures. It bears an often bright yellow, very distinctive fruit with such numerous long spines that it has been used as hairbrushes by people who live among the HOs. The seeds are large and sometimes ground to make a sauce for meat dishes. The flesh is very sweet and moist and does not last long. Here near the town of Alamos, Sonora, the branches of the HO cactus are stuck in the ground as fence posts. They root and grow and form an impassable, thorny living fence. The saguaro is found growing further north than any other large columnar cactus because it is a relatively cold-tolerant cactus. They grow from the southern half of the state of Arizona to the southern parts of Sonora. They are not found in Baja California, Mexico, as are other large columnar cactus. This cactus will grow on the shores of the Sea of Cortez. However, it is most comfortable growing about 10 miles away from the coast. From there, it continues far inland where it is found at elevations of up to 4,000 feet in mountainous regions of central Arizona. Its flowers open in the evening and stay open into the next afternoon, and its fruit is a well-known source of food for native peoples. This fruit is very good tasting, and it can be dried and stored for a long time. The Cardone is the biggest cactus in the world. Its range is entirely in Mexico. It can be found in almost the entire length of the Baja California Peninsula and the entire length of the west coast of Sonora. This cactus seems to depend upon the maritime influences of the Sea of Cortez and the Pacific Ocean. It is usually not found very far inland. Caborca and Pitiquito, Sonora, 50 miles from the coast, are as far from the sea as this cactus grows. This cactus will form almost pure forest at times. It sometimes is an enormous cactus. However, it can be the size of saguaros in other areas. It usually branches much closer to the ground and has many more branches than the saguaro. The young branchless cardone, covered with spines in the foreground, is hard to distinguish from the young branchless saguaro in the background. As it matures, the cardone loses all of its spines, and it is the only large columnar branching cactus that becomes spineless. This is one of the easiest ways to differentiate it from the saguaro. Notice how, in contrast, the top of this saguaro is completely covered with spines. The fruit of the cardone is covered with thousands of tightly packed small spines, and it has a refined appearance. These fruits are so high off the ground that they are especially hard to get off the plant. However, when ripe, they are very good tasting. The flowers and the fruit on the cardone readily grow on the sides of the cactus, whereas the flowers and the fruit of the saguaro grow primarily on top of the columns. Not far from the coast, in Sonora, saguaros and cardones can be found growing side by side as they do here north of Bahia Quino. Here we can see that the two cactus flower at about the same time, the saguaro with its flower buds on top and the cardone with its flowers on the sides. In this video taken near Caborca, we see a good comparison between the two. The smaller saguaro is on the left, and it has 3 branches growing high on the trunk. And the much larger cardone is on the right. It has at least 15 branches growing closer to the trunk. Here again we see a cardone with about 12 branches to the left and several small saguaros to the right. And here we see a low branching cardone to the left and a high branching saguaro to the right. Here we see a low branching cardone with about 16 branches to the left and a saguaro with 2 branches to the right. And here again we see a many branched cardone in the center with several saguaros to the sides. In the town of Puerto Lobos, I encountered this seaside house that was constructed partially of the branches and trunks of the Cardone cactus. A small restaurant there was constructed mostly of cardone wood too. In fact, the wood they used to cook their food on was partially cardone and partially mesquite. Here the cardone ribs are seen from the interior of the restaurant, where I began a trip south along the ocean. On this road south along the coast of the Sea of Cortez, between Puerto Lobos and Puerto Libertad, a few cardones are being salvaged from road construction. More and more intrusions are being made into the heart of the lower Sonoran cardone forest as time goes on. As a youth, I recall traveling along the coast highway in Sonora and seeing wide expanses of columnar cactus forests. Nowadays, the same road has few wild stretches. Agricultural fields have replaced most of the deserts in many areas. Just north of Bahia Quino, this field of squash and farm workers has replaced the Sonoran Desert landscape. Further south, columnar cactus have even worked their way into religious shrines, like this one in honor of the Virgin of Guadalupe. And they have even sprouted from the sides of churches, like this one near the town of Alamos, Sonora. During my travels, I can't resist partaking of the fruits of all the cactus I have mentioned here. There is nothing quite like starting the day with the fruit of saguaro and organ pipe cactus. At the end of one of my trips, I assembled all the fruits of all the branching columnar cactus on the ground for comparison. Traveling to the heart of the world's most interesting subtropical desert, I've encountered some of the most unique landscapes that exist anywhere. Spending the night where the giants of the Sonoran Desert and the sea meet, and watching as a fog rolls in, or a sun sets through the cactus branches to the sea. This is Mike Foster reporting on the world's largest cactus, the Cardone Cactus of Baja California and Sonora, Mexico.